Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Strike Zone with St. Paul Saints Manager George Tsamis. Strike Zone is a weekly program that gives you, the fans, the opportunity to ask the St. Paul Saints skipper questions about the Saints, baseball or sports in general, or just seek George's wisdom about life or whatever issues may be going on out there. This week, the skipper talks to us a little bit about what's going on with the schedule. He talks to us about what's going on in Major League Baseball and his impressions of things that just happened in this past season, and he shares with us his insights on this past weekend's NFL games. So let's get right to Strike Zone. So let's welcome back Manager George Tsamis this week. George, let's first of all begin if you have any team updates or injuries for us.
Yeah, no, nothing new. It's a slow time. Hoping, starting to talk to players and get an idea of who wants to come back. And some guys have said that they're excited to come back, and some guys aren't sure what they're going to do. So it's just a slow time. Hopefully we have some news about player signings. I would think after Thanksgiving sometime, I would think it would heat up.
I know that Dustin Crenshaw went to play in Australia. Were there other players that you're aware of that went there as well? Or winter ball somewhere?
I know Pedro Hernandez. He's playing in Venezuela right now. He's pitching down there, and and Dustin Crenshaw, he went over to Nicaragua to play winter ball. I think they're starting. They just recently started. So, and I know Kramer Sneed. He's going to be going to play, I believe, in the Dominican late this month. So he'll get the chance to go down there, and it's good for these guys too to get to go down there and play against that competition. And I got to play in the Dominican and in Venezuela, and there's some good players down there, and it's just great to get a chance to go play winter ball.
What's the atmosphere like in those games?
There's some crazy crowds. They're into it. They're loud, and they get on you too when things don't go well, but they're very passionate, and it's a neat experience, to go down there and do that.
So you're telling me it's like Philadelphia Philly fans on steroids kind of thing there? Is that?
They're into it, and they're loud, and kind of loud like the Saints fans are loud. The Saints fans get into it too, and it's good. I like the Saints fans when there's 8,000 people there screaming. That's exciting.
For sure. Well, let's get to our questions this week. We first of all begin with Taylor from Minneapolis, who mentions about Torii Hunter retiring, what a great player he was, and what you think. Is it sad for him to retire at this point?
You know what? I guess he's played for a long time, and he's just been he's been a solid player, just so good for such a long time. And he seems like most of the teams he played on, they were good teams in the playoffs, and he came up with some big hits, and just a clutch good player, and true twin player. He started there, and it's good that he got to end there too. So it's kind of sad to lose a guy like that, because I'm sure there were a bunch of kids growing up over the years that wanted to be like Torii Hunter.
Seemed like a really quality guy too.
Absolutely, and he has that. And you notice anytime he hits the ball hard, if it's a home run or a rocket in the gap, he has that little bat flip that Torii Hunter bat flip that was cool to see him do. So it's just a real good clutch player.
Lewis from St. Paul asks, I'm curious, when a player reaches the warning track chasing after a fly ball, can they really make a decision to protect themselves running that fast before they hit the wall?
Well, they're going to have to, and it happens so fast too. So they, I guess that's what the warning track's there for. But when you're going back and you're trying to, it's a tough thing to do. Those are the toughest balls to get, the ones that go straight back, and you're worried about trying to get the ball and worried about crushing the defense, and it's a quick decision. So you hope you make the right one, and you got to know where you are out there, because obviously hitting that fence full speed isn't something you want to do.
Is it once your foot hits that warning track, is there something instinctively that kind of pops on that says, okay, I gotta put my hand out, I gotta slow down? I mean, how does that work for a player?
Sometimes you feel it. You feel it when you get out there. You feel it getting on the dirt, and but it's just you have to be aware of where you're at, and and it seems like our outfitters last year, they made some tremendous plays out there.
For sure.
All three of them, from Argo to Korsnicka to Alonso, they made some great plays up against the wall there, and it's nice to have those good outfitters that know what they're doing out there and cover some ground and make some great plays. But when you're running back, near that wall, you gotta know where you are.
Mitch Elliott made some nice plays out in the outfield last year too.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely, yes. It's nice to have those fast, good outfitters out there, and it's something we lacked over the years. It was good to have more speed this year, and having those outfitters out there covering the ground and making those great plays was nice to see. And so that's something that we're going to really try to do: get some fast outfitters and cover some ground.
Harold from Bloomington asked, he heard during the playoffs that commentators were frequently talking about how a pitcher was balking, but it wasn't being called. If they're not going to call it, then why have the rule?
Yeah, I'm not too sure on which one they were talking about. It seems like when there's a left-handed pitcher out there and he has a good move, and it seems like when that happens, everybody wants to complain it's a balk. So it just, if it's close and the guy has a good move, people just want to say it's a balk, but that doesn't mean it is. And like I said, I don't want to, comment on this one because I'm not really sure which one they were talking about. So I'd rather not say that, or they're wrong or they're correct. I didn't really see the play they were talking about.
Well, I know during the World Series there were a couple of times that Joe Buck mentioned about pitchers coming to a stop for a second or whatever is required in that spot. I thought they actually did, but he didn't seem to think so.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's real close, and again, people have their opinions, and some people are right, and I know you do have to stop, but some people feel that they don't stop long enough, so people want to complain at the box.
Kerry from St. Paul would like to know if you intend to manage an affiliate ball someday.
You know what? I love where I am, and I love being in St. Paul there, and I'd like to stay there as long as I possibly can. And part of the fun of managing St. Paul is putting the team together in the off season. Even though the off season's way too long, and it's just sometimes you go crazy waiting for it. But I really have no interest in being anywhere else, and just putting the team together in the off season. And and why would anybody want to leave when you have that beautiful new stadium in front of all those fans, and you have the right guys that play the game the right way, that play hard, and it's exciting to be there, and I'd like to be there for a long time.
And Nerd and Nerdette, how could you leave from that?
Yeah, there's some characters there. You see everybody there, and it seems like you see a new, interesting character every time out there. So that's another thing that's special about being there, and you never know what you're going to see there.
Omar from St. Paul asks, Skipper, I hear that players like to trash talk to each other to try to get a player off of his game. Has anyone ever said anything crazy to you during a game to do that? Have you ever done such a thing yourself?
Sometimes it happens, and you hope it doesn't. That's the one sport that you really don't hear it too much, but it's sometimes you say things that maybe you shouldn't. It's the heat of the moment, and you try to avoid that stuff. And not like you see in football every day. On almost every play, you hear somebody talking or see somebody talking, and you try to avoid that stuff. But at times, it does happen.
Frank from Richfield asked, do you expect to see other players signed to affiliate ball before spring training begins? I would think Vinny DeFazio would be a good fit somewhere.
Yeah, I think there's a handful of our guys that deserve a chance, and Vinny does too. He was MVP of the league, and just a great year. But you're just not sure how it happens. So you can recommend the guys, and Vinny and Angelo Sanco, who another guy that had a great year. Alonzo Harris is such an excellent outfitter, excellent center fielder, and you would think that these guys would get a chance. And but again, you're just not sure what each organization's thinking or what their needs are. And a guy that I think really deserves a chance is Dustin Crenshaw. He's had 2 solid seasons in a row in our league, but again, he doesn't light up the radar gun with the 90-mile-per-hour fastball. But he's been pretty good 2 years in a row, and but who knows? He's, like I said, he's down playing winter ball in Nicaragua. Maybe he'll catch somebody's eye, and maybe he'll get a chance. Same goes for Pedro Hernandez, Kramer Sneed. Ryan Rodabaugh had 25 saves as well too, and he's reached AAA. So there's a good 6-7 guys that deserve a chance. It's just a matter of somebody gives it to them.
Terry from Plymouth would like to know, do you think Dusty Baker is the right fit for the Washington Nationals?
You know, he's been around for a while, a lot of experience, he knows what he's doing, and they hired him for a reason. And so for them, you hope it's the right fit. But it's just about the players getting the job done and going out there and you know, getting it done. You know, you and I have talked before. You don't need to have a bunch of superstars on your team. You just need to have a bunch of solid players that play the game the right way, and it's the manager's job to manage the players, manage them, get them in the right frame of mind, and go out there with the right attitude. So hopefully he can do that, because we know the talent is there. They have the talent. It's just a matter of getting it done and putting it all together.
Dennis from Savage asks, what are some things that a person can do to become a better base stealer?
Yeah. One thing is he's got to study each pitcher and each catcher, too. Just study them. There's times that, you know, the pitcher's holding a runner on and he's getting the same timing every pitch. He comes down, holds it for a second, and just goes home. Or if he throws the first, he just doesn't, you know, he just doesn't even come set. It just comes over. So studying the pitchers, their times to home. If a guy's slow to home, those are the guys you steal off. A lot of times you steal it off the pitcher and not the catcher. You get a good jump. If a guy's slow to home, you get the stolen base. And again, if you have a catcher who doesn't throw well, too, that's something that good base runners know, and who throws well and who doesn't, and just being aware of who's out there.
We have a whole series of NFL questions for this week. The first one is two questions from Kennedy from Burnsville. The first one is, what did you think of the hit on Teddy Bridgewater, and how would you punish the Rams player?
Oh, okay. First of all, how about the Vikings win yesterday? That was a nice win. Against a real good team.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? Aren't the Vikings in first now? Isn't that
tied for first? Yes.
Tied for first. Yeah, well, good for them, right? And 2 weeks they have the Packers, right? So, you know, it just week to week you just never know with this. And remember after the first week when the Vikings lost to the 49ers and everybody thought the season was over after one game. It's good that they're playing so well, and they beat a real good team yesterday, and now the schedule, it's going to even get tougher. They have a tough one going into Oakland, and then they have the Packers, and I'm so happy for the way they're playing, and hopefully they can keep it going. Yeah, the hit on Bridgewater, that's unfortunate that it happened. It happened so fast. It did seem a little late, and it did seem he was sliding, and I know I loved Zimmer's reaction to it. He wasn't very happy about it, and he made it known, and good for him for saying that, and good for him for sticking up for his guys. And I would think that there's going to be a big fine for the Rams player, and it's not a suspension. And but hopefully he's okay, and hopefully he can play next week in Oakland in a real tough game. Absolutely.
Kennedy would also like to ask, with the Packers struggling the way that they are, do you think the Vikings will win the NFC North?
I don't know. It's you hope they can do it, but we're at the halfway mark, and it's whoever plays better and whoever gets hot. And even yesterday with the Packers game, I was kind of surprised that Panthers laid it to them pretty good, and I was surprised to see it. And I know it got interesting there at the end, but I don't know. It seemed like Rodgers was running for his life the whole game. So I don't know if they have the offensive line issues, or if it's just credit for Carolina's good defense. But, that division is up in the air, and I hope the Vikings can pull it out and keep playing good.
Let's jump to these other three, and we'll come back to 11. Number 12 asks, Ben from Victoria asks, do you think that the victory over the Broncos could turn the Indianapolis Colts season around?
That was great. That was a surprise for everybody, too. See, that's the thing with the NFL or anything, Major League Baseball, anything. Anybody can beat anybody on any day, and nobody expected that. And the Colts, they can win the division, because the division, it seems to be one of the easier divisions, and that certainly helped their chances. And I would think they would win the division, but every week you just never know what's going to happen.
Patriots Warrior asks, do you think that the New England Patriots could go 16-0 this season?
Absolutely, isn't it? It's the same thing, every week with them. They go out there, they look good, and win by 14, 20, or how many points they do. And There's 3 undefeated teams left now? Is it what? It's New England,
Yes,
Carolina, and Cincinnati, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's it'd be nice to see one. It'd be nice to see somebody go undefeated, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots do it. And I know they have a tough one at the Giants this week, and I know they have to go to Denver too. But you know, I think they can, and I would like to see somebody do it. It's something that we don't get to see very often.
Zach from Woodbury would like to know, with Roethlisberger and Bell out, do you think that the Steelers are done at this point?
Nope, I don't. And who knows? I mean, he only be out a couple weeks, Roethlisberger, and he looked so good yesterday too. He is such a good quarterback, and D'Angelo Williams, he looked pretty good too. He looked like one of the better guys in the league yesterday, and so hopefully he can get healthy, and they play Cleveland next week, and they have a bye, and hopefully he can be back in a couple of weeks. And again, it comes down to whoever gets hot and plays good in the second half.
We'll finish up with our last question from Steve from Minneapolis this week. You talked in a previous show how it was wrong for one player to switch teams and go to their rival, so you have to hate to see Mike Ditka in a Packers sweater in that commercial.
Yeah, you know, I know commercial, but when you see it, it's just not right. Just like Gary Rice wearing the Dallas in his commercial too, the Cowboys, you know, stuff. So yeah, that's not right. We don't need to see those things, and but it's weird looking at it though. You don't see it every day. So
absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us this week, George.
Okay, thank you. And like I said, we'll talk next week, and hopefully we'll have a schedule here. You know, hopefully if not next week, hopefully for sure in a couple of weeks.
Sounds great. See you next week.
All right. Thank you. I'll see you later.
We want to thank Manager George Tsamis for joining us on Strike Zone this week. If you have your own questions you'd like to ask the St. Paul Saints skipper, please send them to us at askgeorge@minorleaguesportsreport.com. That's askgeorge@minorleaguesportsreport.com. Please have your questions to us by Sunday evening so the skipper has a little bit of time to review them before we record the show Monday afternoon. I want to thank you for joining us this week on Strike Zone. I'm Rob Pannier, the managing editor of the Minor League Sports Report, and we'll see you next week on Strike Zone.